Morning friends, happy Thursday, how the heck you doing? I've got Fido Dido style hair yet again today, but Meghan is ruling the world, and this premiere of Cookie Queens has literally been covered by international media in more than 80 languages. The world cannot get enough of this collaboration between Meghan's writing and creative skills, all about the Girl Scouts of America, and the director that she paired with to make her dream come alive. This is what the media wants. Successful people with a successful program creating media that's telling a story that's heartwarming and real. And this girl, as we all know, is the real future queen of the UK. Will that happen? Stranger things have happened in history. I can see it happening. And her lifestyle with Harry continues to make her look like this. Tan, moisturised, completely unbothered. She's left the rat's nest in the UK, and she is now literally living her best life. Hats off to the Meghan, as usual, working hard, achieving loads. There's a message in there somewhere, right? Excuse me. My opinion's not important. Yours is.
So Meghan attended the Los Angeles screening of Cookie Queens on Tuesday night. And remember, Harry and Meghan are the executive producers of Cookie Queens through Archwell Productions. And also, let's just get this straight, Meghan was a scout girl herself, and her mother, Doria, was a troop leader. So everyone that says, what relevance does Meghan have to this, and why is she getting involved in this project? Well, I think that's a pretty good reason why. She's done it herself, she's had those memories, she's experienced it. And why can't she do it? And every time Meghan does something, it's a positive, but everyone else just spins it into a negative. Every single time we get a positive about Meghan, the media, the trolls, the haters, they just turn it around and say, oh, she's making it all about herself. She doesn't really care. Oh, it's so shallow what she's doing compared to what William and Kate are doing. Well, Meghan isn't sponging off the British taxpayer every day. She's making money for herself. She's not living off the UK anymore. She's been gone 6 years and she hasn't had a penny off the taxpayer. And you shouldn't really be moaning at her. You should be moaning about William and Kate and the rest of the royal family members who cost us $550 million a year. And obviously Cookie Queens will hit the theatres on the 7th of August. And I wouldn't be surprised if the royal family, some of the members would come out and try to outshine this moment for Meghan. We might see Charles and Camilla. I don't know if people have noticed lately how much work Camilla and Charles are doing. Someone said they're supposed to be on holiday and yet they're working. So it's obvious why they're doing it, Harry and Meghan. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something from William and Kate, like an Instagram post or I don't know, just an announcement of something. But Meghan spoke at the first screening of Cookie Queens on the stage, and she was also reflecting on advice from Prince Harry about maintaining perspective through challenges. And she was saying how Harry used to fly the helicopters through a storm. And she said to him, even though there's a storm and the clouds and everything, above all that, there's still that sunshine that's going to shine through again. And she's just so lovely, Meghan. I mean Kate couldn't think of that. She's not like Meghan. I'm afraid she's hopeless. She's absolutely useless. And Meghan, again, she's always shining a spotlight on the things that are close to her heart and mean a lot to her. And she just looked fantastic. Her whole white ensemble look, she just looked everything. Her face, her makeup, her hair, she just looked incredible. And Meghan always shows up and she does good work, whereas Kate and William are off sunning themselves on holiday and they're still taking 66 grand off the British UK taxpayer. But apparently that's fine, that's absolutely fine to take 66 grand a day, even though you're sunning yourselves. Whereas Harry and Meghan, when they were sunning themselves, they weren't sponging. They were making their own money. They don't have to thrive of someone else. They want to be independent. But I just thought this photo, Meghan looked so confident. She looked so happy. She's just got that look of confidence. She doesn't need to ask someone, am I doing this right? Do I look all right? She knows she looks all right. She knows she can talk. And this is why she had to go in the royal family, I'm afraid. The royal family didn't want her. She was showing them up. She was making them look useless, lazy, uneducated. She was making Kate look absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Meghan on the Heads Together interview speech on the stage blew everyone away, whereas Kate couldn't even string a sentence together. All we heard was just mumbling the whole time. And as I said numerous times before, the royal family wanted to put Harry and Meghan in a box, close the lid, throw it under the bed, and never seen again. Make them irrelevant. No one speak about them. But it's having the opposite effect now. They're still being spoken about. It's been 6 years since they've left the royal family, and people are still talking about them. And this is a huge slap in the face to the royal family, because if Meghan was still in the institution, the monarchy would be absolutely booming now. Just with Meghan, because she's biracial, she diversifies, she's different, she does different subjects. She doesn't want to do the friendly subjects like Diana did. She did the minefield, she did the AIDS, she did all the bad ones. And Meghan likes a challenge. She wants to do good in life. She doesn't want to sit down and just put her feet up, because she could do that, but she doesn't want to. And again, when they said, oh, Meghan didn't want to put in the hours in the royal family, she didn't want to do the work, that's just rubbish. They had to go because they couldn't put up with all the media scrutiny, all the lies, the false briefings from William and Kate, Charles and Camilla, the palace, the AIDS. No one was supporting her. She was having mental health problems. She wanted to go for help, but they said it would look bad on the institution. And if I was the royal palisades today and saw this photo, I would be really angry, because she looks so happy and free and herself, and she's flying, she's thriving. And Meghan said that once. There's no point trying to survive. You have to thrive. You've got to be happy. And this is a clear prime example of Meghan being happy. She's got her husband, she's got her 2 beautiful children, she's got her Montecito mansion, she's got her mum, her dogs, everything, her beautiful garden. I mean, what more could you ask for? And this is just, they say that happy life. And she looks like that. Whereas William and Kate look down in the dumps. They've really aged drastically over the last 2 years. They never look happy. They're always filled with venom and anger. And when they see this photo today of Meghan, they're not going to be happy. It's almost like, why is she happy? How can she be happy? But she's free, Meghan. She's not a puppet. She's not like you and Kate. She's being herself. She doesn't have to be pulled about on a string. You do this, you do that. She's just doing what she wants to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as I said, Cookie Queens is premiering on the 7th of August. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we had some announcement from William and Kate or some Instagram post, but we'll see. But Meghan's still shining in the spotlight, and she's living her life to the fullest. Have a good day, guys.
Squaddies, you know what I liked about this premiere? Meghan didn't roll up because there were flashing lights everywhere, or because Hollywood's biggest names were lining up on the red carpet. She showed up for a documentary about young girls selling cookies, learning leadership, and figuring out how to believe in themselves. That's the kind of thing some people would scroll right past. Meghan didn't. And honestly, that's how real life works. Not every moment is a Super Bowl. Not every event is the Oscars. Sometimes the biggest difference you can make is showing up for people when the cameras aren't guaranteed to be there. That's what parents do. That's what good teachers do. That's what mentors do. You don't only clap when someone wins the lottery. You clap when they take their first step. That's why this hit differently. Some folks are always asking, what's in it for her? Maybe the better question is, what's in it for those girls? Imagine being a young Girl Scout and Meghan walks through the door smiling, talking to you, taking photos, listening to your story. Trust me, That memory lasts way longer than a box of cookies. And here's the funny part. Some people online were acting like she committed a federal crime by attending a documentary premiere. I'm sitting there thinking, y'all are exhausted. She showed up to encourage kids, and somehow that became breaking news. If supporting young people makes people mad, maybe they're the ones who need a timeout and a cookie. This is something regular people understand. You don't have to be rich or famous to make someone feel seen. Maybe it's showing up to your niece's school play. Maybe it's cheering your friend's small business that only has 12 followers. Maybe it's buying something from the kid raising money for their team instead of pretending you didn't hear the doorbell. Those little moments matter. People remember who showed up. That's what I saw here. Meghan didn't make the night about herself. She used her platform to give those girls a bigger audience. That's a smart move, because everybody loves talking about building confident young people, but not everybody actually shows up when it's time to do it. Actions always speak louder than hot takes on social media. Anybody can type a tweet. Anybody can complain in a comment section. Showing up, that's the part that separates talkers from doers. At the end of the day, this wasn't about a fancy outfit or celebrity headlines. It was about reminding young girls that their dreams deserve attention too. And if one appearance helps one kid believe she can lead, build something, or chase a goal a little harder, then I'd call that time well spent. Let's be honest for a second. These days, everybody's trying to go viral. Everybody wants the perfect quote, the perfect clapback, the perfect speech. But sometimes, one sentence does all the heavy lifting. When Meghan shared what Harry once told her, "Above the storm, the sun's always shining," it landed because it didn't sound rehearsed, it sounded real. It sounded like something a husband says when his wife is carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. And here's the difference. Harry wasn't pulling lines from a motivational calendar hanging in somebody's office. The man actually flew Apache helicopters. He knows what it looks like when the sky is dark below, but clear above the clouds. That's not imagination, that's experience talking. That's why the quote sticks. Regular people get this. Maybe you've lost a job. Maybe you've buried someone you love. Maybe your business hit a rough patch. Maybe life just keeps throwing punches like it forgot to clock out. In those moments, nobody wants a 2-hour lecture. Sometimes you just need one person to say, "Keep going, this won't last forever." That's what Harry's words felt like. And you've got to love Meghan for sharing it. She could have talked about herself all night. She could have made a fancy speech with big words that everybody forgets before they reach the parking lot. Instead, she passed along something that had helped her personally. That's what made it feel genuine. You know what's funny? The internet can spend 3 days arguing over who wore what, who looked at who blinked too fast. Meanwhile, one simple sentence about hope ends up being the thing people remember. Life has a sense of humor. Here's another thing. We all know somebody who's the calm one in the family. The person who tells everybody, "Relax, we'll figure it out," while everybody else is running around like the Wi-Fi just went down. From what Meghan shared, Harry sounds like that kind of person. He wasn't pretending storms don't exist. He was reminding her not to live inside them forever. That's a lesson plenty of us could borrow. Because life is messy. Bills don't disappear, problems don't magically pack their bags and leave. But if you keep your head up and keep moving, today's headache doesn't have to become tomorrow's whole story. So when Meghan repeated those words, she wasn't just talking about Harry's time in the military. She was sharing a mindset, one that's simple enough for anybody to understand. Sometimes the shortest message carries the biggest punch. And judging by how people reacted, I'd say Harry's words flew a lot farther than any long speech ever could.
Can we talk about how wrong the critics have been for a minute? Remember all those predictions? They'll split up. They won't survive. Harry will come calling back. Meghan will leave. We've been hearing that song on repeat for years. At this point, it's got more reruns than an old sitcom. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan are just out here living their lives. That's the part that makes some people scratch their heads. They stepped away from royal life, built a home in California, raised their kids away from the palace spotlight, started new projects, launched productions, supported charities, and somehow they're still making headlines without standing on a palace balcony. Think about that. People kept saying they couldn't make it without the royal machine behind them. Well, who's still waiting for that prediction to come true? What stood out at the Cookie Queen's premiere wasn't some dramatic announcement. It was something much simpler. Meghan talked about Harry the way people talk about someone who's been in their corner through the tough days. Calling him my love and my husband didn't feel forced. It felt natural. It sounded like someone talking about their best friend. That's real life. Most of us don't remember every expensive gift we've ever received. We remember the person who sat with us when life got messy, the one who picked us up when we were running on empty. That's exactly what Harry's words seemed to mean to Meghan. She held on to that advice because it helped her. Years later, she was still sharing it. You can't fake that kind of connection. And here's what makes me laugh. Every few months, somebody dusts off the same old breakup rumours like they're bringing us exclusive news. Then Harry and Meghan show up supporting each other's work again, and suddenly those stories disappear faster than free pizza at an office party. It's becoming a pattern. One is working, the other is cheering from the sidelines. Then they switch. No competition, no drama, just teamwork. Funny how the loudest headlines are usually the ones that age the worst. The biggest win here isn't just that they're still together, it's that they've proved you can walk away from a system, build your own path, and still succeed on your own terms. They didn't disappear after leaving royal duties. If anything, they created the freedom to choose the projects they care about instead of the ones expected of them. That's a message regular people understand. Sometimes leaving a place isn't giving up. Sometimes it's making room to grow. Plenty of people have walked away from jobs that drained them, moved to a new city, started over, or built a business after everyone told them they'd fail. It wasn't easy, but they made it work. Harry and Meghan's story taps into that same feeling. They bet on themselves. People laughed, people doubted them, yet here they are, raising a family, backing meaningful projects, and continuing to attract attention wherever they go. So while critics are busy writing the next chapter of a story they hope happens, Harry and Meghan are busy living the one that's actually happening. And judging by everything we've seen, they're not just surviving outside royal life, they're thriving. They're choosing their own direction, and that's probably the part that bothers the critics the most. Isn't it funny how the smallest events sometimes end up making the biggest noise? Think about it. This wasn't a movie with superheroes flying across the screen. It wasn't some celebrity award show where everybody's trying to outdress each other. It was a documentary premiere about young Girl Scouts chasing big dreams. Yet somehow, that's the story people kept talking about. Why? Because people are starving for something real. Every day we're hit with drama, arguments, clickbait, and folks acting like the world is ending before breakfast. Then along comes a simple event with kids, community, encouragement, and one heartfelt message, and suddenly people are paying attention. That tells you something. Meghan didn't have to create chaos to get noticed. She just showed up, supported a project she believed in, and let the moment breathe. No circus, no shouting, no manufactured drama, just good vibes and genuine support. Then Harry's words entered the conversation. Above the storm, the sun's always shining. Boom. Now everybody's talking about hope instead of gossip. That's a plot twist social media wasn't expecting. And let's give those young Girl Scouts some credit too. Those girls weren't just selling cookies. They were showing what happens when young people are trusted with responsibility. They learn confidence, they learn leadership, they learn how to bounce back when things don't go their way. Honestly, some adults could sign up to those lessons too. I know a few people on social media who'd benefit from a Girl Scout badge and keeping calm. Here's what regular people see. Parents see kids being encouraged instead of ignored, teachers see young people being celebrated, small business owners see what happens when someone with a big platform shines a light on everyday people instead of making everything about themselves. That's why this connected with so many people. And here's the part that really stands out. Harry and Meghan didn't become the whole story. They helped make the documentary the story. That's not always easy when you're two of the most talked about people in the world. They used their attention to pull others into the spotlight instead of grabbing every bit of it for themselves. That's smart. More importantly, that's generous. At the end of the day, headlines full of fighting might grab attention for a few hours, but stories that leave people smiling, those stick with you. They remind you that not every big moment has to come from an argument. Sometimes it comes from encouraging a young person, sharing a few honest words, and reminding people there's still plenty of good happening out there. And maybe that's why this little premiere turned into such a big conversation, not because it was loud, because it was real. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. I am your host, Miles. Love you all. Blessed week. Goodbye.